This is the story of Nikita's Haulout. We motored Nikita 192 nautical miles from Brunswick Landing Marina, the #1 rated marina in the United States, Google it, to Scorpion Marine at Port Canaveral Marina. Hey everybody, we finally got off the dock. This is our crew.
How you doing?
Turn around and say hello.
Yo, yo.
These guys helping us. Okay, pause it. This is our volunteer crew. This guy over here is Sweet Baby Mike. I call him that because one time he asked me for barbecue sauce. And this guy over here is Kevin #1. He's my #1. And there's more Kevins.
Yeah, man.
This is the very, very rough day that we chose.
It's treacherous.
Absolutely brutal.
Treacherous
Choice
out
of
here.
weather window. That's Lady C. She's already done breakfast and she's done cleaning. She's ready to just chill. All of the work that I had done to Nikita was about to be put to the test. The dinghy rack, all the engine maintenance, but my main concern was a through-hull valve. The dinghy rack stood up to the treacherous waters 12 miles out in the Atlantic. We were visited by some YouTube celebrities. Dolphins on the bow. What you doing?
Oh, I can't wait to show this to my daughter. She might have an interest now. Hi, babe, look!
This was a real bucket list item.
We're totally going underside and checking it out.
At one point, Kathy got into a smiling contest with one of the dolphins, and she almost won. You know, it's a dolphin, come on. Kevin #1 tried his best to get the dolphins to give him a high five. Come on, dolphin, jump up and slap him. Well, that's fun. With Sweet Baby Mike holding down the helm, we cruised down the Florida coast. And those dolphins just wouldn't leave us alone.
Steve, Pete would love this.
We arrived and motored up the channel. Sweet Baby Mike and Kevin #1 took care of all the lines and fenders. See the ship coming up the channel?
Is he coming out?
Yep.
Oh, thank you, sweet baby.
Thank you, babe. Sweet Baby Mike is now Sweet Baby, or Baby for short.
That's the Disney boat.
And he knows how to be a celebrity.
Excited. They're all waving at us.
Of course.
Wave back.
You're the
Kathy's a
celebrity
wave
on the
through.
cruise. Hey, how
Wave
are
back.
Look at
We're
this, like,
sail
there's the real
leverage.
sailors. And they're natural
S-A-I-L. We're
environment.
sail leverages.
I did my best to dock Nikita in a marina filled with $1,000,000 yachts. So we're coming up this channel and I'm gonna dock at the very end, and all I can think is there's $1 million and there's $1 million. Over this side is $1 million, $2 million over here. And there's a couple more million, there was a more billion. There's like $1 billion of boats in this one channel. I wasn't scared much, but that's a lot of millions. Full disclosure, this was my 4th time docking Nikita. I'm not nervous. 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 That crunching sound was a golf cart driving up the ramp. It was not Nikita dragging along the piling, like it sounds and looks. Video's deceiving. I'll show you this again. I know, I heard it and freaked out. I was just thinking to myself, I just made this whole haul out more expensive. But it wasn't. I had plenty of room.
Beautiful job, Steve.
The Scorpion Marine crew got right to work. They brought in Mongo, who came down and snatched Nikita from the water. Kathy seemed a little bit worried. Was that?
It's my house.
But I had faith in Charlie, the lift operator. Gratuitous pressure washing clip. All right, enough of that. Charlie and Mongo backed up my now blue boat and blocked her up. This was where Nikita was going to live for the next 16 days. Super Dave and I started to remove the cutlass bearings. Well, first we watched a YouTube video to figure out which version of cutlass bearings we had. Thank God for sailing forums. Then we unscrewed this one bolt, cut through the sealant, and removed the cutlass bearing housing. These cutlass bearings had done their duty, and now they were headed to Super Dave's shop to be pressed out and replaced with new ones. Then Super Dave and I removed 14 underwater through holes. This through hole was the very first one that I took out of the boat. It was the source of all of my stress and most of my soiled boxers. Every afternoon as the yard went quiet, I would go out and polish the gel coat over and over and over. It was great stress relief. Next, Bobbio and I tackled the keel drip on the port keel. I noticed a similar repair had been done a while ago on the starboard keel. We drilled holes in the keel right where the damage was to let the water drain out, and then we let it dry out for 6 days in the Florida heat. Bobbio suited up in his one-piece suit like a sharp-dressed man, and he ground it down. Bobbio worked tirelessly from the comfort of his boogie board. Bobbio's boogie board. Then, confusion day. This is why you stay on the boat when you're in the boatyard. They came out with blue paint instead of black paint. The guys will return in the morning with black bottom paint. So I went and polished. I polished my butt off. Stressful day. The next day was very satisfying. Interlux Ultra Coat Hard Bottom Paint in black.
Oh my God, that is so satisfying.
I was certainly pleased with my decision. To celebrate, I went and polished the gel coat a lot. Over and over and over I polished. It was a wonderful celebration of the black. Soon Nikita was covered in 2 beautiful coats of black bottom paint, and I had finally cleaned the last chunks of sealant and paint off of my face. I have no idea how 4000 got in my ear, but it's not there now. Thank God it wasn't 5200, or I would be like, what? Huh? What? What? Man, for 16 days I was so happy because mine was the shiniest boat in the whole boatyard, and then this guy shows up. Steal my thunder, bro. Let's go show you what we've done. While Nikita was on the hard, we changed out both of the cutlass bearings. This little bolt right here comes out and this whole plate comes out, and then in there is the cutlass bearing. And in the survey, they showed us that when you push up and down, it will tell you if it moves, you'll know that the cutlass bearings have worn out and it's time to replace them. So we got new cutlass bearings on both sides. Remember in the other video, the stains that were here? Let me show you what they look like. When we first pulled the boat out of the water, this is what the stains on the bottom look like. Then let's look at what it looks like now. When the props came off, I went ahead and cleaned them all up and put prop speed on them and added a new nut and zinc combination so that the old nut was all corroded. So this whole section is all brand new. The second thing that we did was we changed out 14 different through holes. All the underwater through holes throughout the whole boat have all been changed out. And then the third thing we did was we painted the bottom. We had a gel coat crack right here in the port bow. This is what it looked like when we pulled out. And Bobbio, my buddy, Bobby, looks smooth like Fabio. He went and patched us all up and painted it. I love that guy. Thank you, Bobbio. I gotta give props to Dave from Carter's Marine. He helped us with all the through holes and cutlass bearings. Bro, you rock. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to Mike and Charlie and Cheryl from Scorpion Marine here at Port Canaveral Marina. You guys made this haul out so easy. We couldn't be happier with the results of this haul out. One of the most satisfying jobs I did when I was in the boatyard was cleaning the underside of the crossbeam. This is a part of the boat that you can't see, when you're on the boat. But when you're under the boat looking up at it, oh, there's the crud right there. That was unbelievably satisfying to clean that part. It needed it so bad. So it's almost time to say goodbye to Scorpion Marine, launch Nikita, and get back out on the water. Good morning, everybody. It's launch day. We've been 16 days on the hard, and today's the day she touches the water again. Gratuitous launch clip. All right, that's enough of that. Through hole checks. Here we go. Engine, Jenny, good. Sink, good. Discharge, good. AC, salt flush, both good. Roll check, that one's clean. Water maker's good.
And that's the strainer for the AC, not for the engine. That you see what?
That one's good.
That's the water we expect to be there.
Both of those are good.
Yeah, I'm good on everything's good on my end.
Alright. Discharge. Solid holding. Nothing's leaking. Head. Good. And engine. Good, no leaks. I can't believe I did it. She looks great. Hey kids, it's story time with Uncle Stinky. This is the story of our trip home back to Brunswick Landing Marina from Scorpion Marine after our haul out. Our trip back from Canaveral was plagued with power issues. Our batteries weren't charging. There was quite a few electrical problems. We didn't shoot any video during that time. It was all just fix the boat, make decisions. But to make sure that this story is still fun and funny, I've included some of my friends from the trip that are going to now over dramatically recreate some of the scenes from this very eventful passage. Here's the story. Nikita was finally back on the water, and Kathy and I were very happy to be able to use the onboard head, and we didn't need to run across the boatyard or remember a bathroom code anymore. On board, the crew was Lady C, Admiral Dimples, Brokeback Kevin, Sweet Baby Mike, and his emotional support dog Sirius. Let's break down the return crew. This is Jen. I call her Admiral Dimples. She has two sides, serious and funny. She goes into Admiral mode, like when I noticed her face up on the bow alert me that I had just missed a channel marker. No shit, true story. I'm just tooting right along and I saw her face go up on the bow, and I thought, someone's in trouble, here she comes, somebody's gonna get yelled at. I know it's not me, there's my red marker right there. And she came straight at me, and I know, oh, it was me. And so immediately, sorry, Admiral Dimples, my bad. Straighten up that line. Back to Dimples, everything's good, just keep your eye on her and she'll let you know when you're doing something wrong. This is Admiral's Kevin. I can't just call him Kevin number 2 because that's just a shitty joke. This Kevin couldn't join us earlier because he had a doctor's appointment for his back. Kevin number 1 found the connection. His back, is it broke? So he immediately became Brokeback Kevin, because that's funnier than anything I could possibly think of. Who knew Kevin number 1 was such a baller? Anywho, Brokeback raced a lot of sailboats. He was a grinder before Grinder. And he even brought his own jack lines. And this is Sweet Baby Mike, who had so much fun on the trip down. He returned with his emotional support dog Sirius to help us on the trip back home. Interrupting Uncle Stinky story time for a second. This is Steve, this is Sirius. I'm going to tell you what happened. So we didn't have electrical issues on the passage down. It was on the passage back. The batteries never recharged all the way, and we left at 88% charge. Concerning, but I didn't know why. First, the combiner output blew a fuse. Learned later that the output wires were undersized. This right here is the battery combiner. This takes the power from the alternators and reroutes it to the house bank. It takes the output from the alternators after they've charged their start batteries. They would then dump it to the house bank. That's the little box that would go green light. We connect to the house bank and take that voltage and put it into the house bank. The combiner wasn't connecting. It would stay disconnected, yellow light flashing, saying there was an error, but we didn't know what that error was. I found out later that this was because the old AGM house bank was registering less than 12.8 volts, which is the minimum needed to combine with a combiner. So the Combiner was never going to connect to the house bank until the house bank was raised up to at least 12.8. We discussed pulling in at Ponce Inlet as a backup in case we couldn't get the batteries charged. Sweet baby Mike planned the backup route. We could monitor the house voltage inside at the nav station using the Xantrex Link Light battery monitor and also on the DC voltmeters. We needed to watch the voltage levels out at the helm so that we wouldn't have to run back inside. So sweet baby Mike opened up a window, not that kind of window. So sweet baby Mike opened up a window on the chart plotter that shows device voltage. Now we could monitor the levels more easily throughout the night. Then I remembered my half-built and still untested solar infrastructure. I turned on 2 of the 6 MPPTs using the Victron Connect app. I double-checked all of the parameters were for AGM, checked the polarity and the voltage, then I threw the breakers to the panels, and the system started working. The solar panels brought the house bank voltage up to the 12.8 needed for the battery combiner to kick in. Suddenly the lights were green all around. Sweet baby Mike read 13.1 volts on the chart plotter device voltage window. We let the batteries charge as we passed Ponce Inlet. We were headed home. After 6 hours of charging, we tried to use the inverter thinking that the house batteries had taken 6 hours of charge. That's when I realized that any draw at all put the inverter immediately into fault mode. We couldn't even power up the deep freezer. So I shut everything down. I turned off any excess electrical draw. I shut down the inverter, let the solar panels ring out the last of the sun. We charged up every single phone and tablet that was running Navionics. In the morning, we made coffee with a percolator that we Googled on our barely charged phones. The old AGM batteries were showing 12.3, but they held us through the night. We never lost autopilot, we never lost nav lights, we never lost anything. Drinking my percolated coffee, I stared at the Victron app, watching as the sun came up. The solar panels finally began pushing out power. We were going to make it. And to those of you saying, Uncle Stinky, that's not a very funny story, here's a little fun fact. The only head on the boat that was working was electric. So I'm Uncle Stinky. I hope you've enjoyed my stories. If so, please subscribe and share so I can grow this channel because I'm going to need some batteries soon. Making these fun little videos has been like therapy to me because I'm suffering right now from a bad case of DC PTSD. Shut up, Giacomo, you're not funny. Yes, I am, and I'll be funny again very soon. All right, that's enough out of you. I'll see you all next time. Uncle Stinky out. Roll with it, kids. Come on, have fun. Not that kind of window.
Ow! I slammed my shin on that thing.
I was supposed to shoot the window. Are you okay? Do we need medical?
I don't know. No, I don't need medical.
You're gonna get back into character?
I'm getting hazard pay for this.
Why is that funny?